Good evening. It's good to be with you this evening, and it's especially good for me to reminisce a little bit about my almost 58 years being a priest. That's a long time. That's a long career. I'm very, very grateful to the Lord for it, because somebody asked me once, what would be a highlight of my priesthood, or what do I remember the most about it, or something. And that would be very difficult for me to single that out, because it's filled with what I see as highlights. Every baptism, every wedding are joyful occasions. I mean, it's a highlight when a person comes to receive the sacrament of penance, confession, very upset and in tears, and leaves a happy person, rejoicing in God's forgiveness. Wow, that's a wonderful experience for me, to be the instrument of that forgiveness. And saying Mass, presiding at Mass with a community of people, I came to full realization of how important that was to me when for a couple of months I was so sick I couldn't do it. And when I finally was able to go back and to preside at a Mass with my community of people, it was such a wonderful experience, and it still remains a wonderful experience, that I wouldn't trade anything for it. I look upon that sermon time, that homily time at Mass, as perhaps the most important time of the week, because at that time I'm in touch with more people than any other time during the week. And it is my privilege to proclaim God's word and to try to bring it right into their lives, which is a great challenge. So I take it very, very seriously. I start working on next Sunday's homily on the Sunday afternoon before. Homilies are only about 8 minutes long, but I think that's about the right amount of time to keep people's attention. But I take it very, very seriously. And if another priest were to ask me, what's the most important thing I can do for my people, I'd say, give them a good homily. That's what they're looking for. And that's the greatest opportunity of the whole week you have to connect with and to help your people. I just went out there with an open mind, saying I want to invite people to come and take responsibility for the church and ownership for the church in every way possible, and let's see where this goes. We believe that the church is basically, it's not just the priests and the bishops. I mean, we need bishops and we need priests, but it's the people of God. That's the way Vatican II described it. These are the people of God. They are the church too. They are the church, and we're not sitting here on some kind of a pedestal, telling people how to live and so forth. No, we are on the same journey that the people are on. We are on the same faith journey that they are. That's why in my homilies I never say you. It's always we, because I'm preaching not only to them but to myself also at the same time. And that sense of being part of that whole community and rejoicing in the fact that, as unworthy as I may be, or any priest may be, as unworthy as we may be, that God is using us to be the presiders over this community of His people is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I'm very grateful for that. But it's like, I don't know how to say it, taking people seriously and to listen to them and to walk the journey with them is what, as far as I'm concerned, it's all about. And that just creates a different atmosphere. I remember going back in those days at Pius X that there were some people who said, well, that church is too liberal, and we're not sure that's even a Catholic church, which really wasn't fair criticism. Basically, we were the first ones just to do certain things that were allowed by the church to do. And like we were the first ones to have lay Eucharistic ministers and so forth. And since I guess we were the first ones to do some of these things, we developed the idea that we were a very liberal church. We were somewhat liberal, I guess, but not radically liberal or anything like that. But it was a parish that people owned and took responsibility for, and I think really enjoyed. And I think it still is pretty much held on that way out there. I received a phone call from a Msgr Kleisler in Newark, New Jersey. And he said that he wanted to come out and study our parish. And he just talked to as many people as he could talk to and attended as many meetings as he could and so forth. And then by the time he was ready to go back to Newark, he said, "You have a Renew parish." I said, "Well, what is that?" Over the next 5 years, I flew 1,000,000 miles. And meaning I was averaging like 4,000 miles a week on airplanes. I was flying so often that the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, who maintained the airports, wanted me on their board of advisors for their airports, which I didn't accept. But it was traveling all over the country. In a period of 5 years, I dealt with at least a third of all the bishops in the United States, and I've talked to at least a third of all the priests of the United States. It was a real eye-opening experience. I got a sense of the American church in a much broader way than any other way I could think of. And it was a very challenging 5 years. I'm very happy I did it. But after 5 years of constant traveling like that was enough too. It was good to come back home. I am so grateful to God and to Bishop Kikanis, by the way, for allowing me to continue as pastor here. I'm far beyond retirement age, and he still allows me to be here, and I'm so very grateful to him for doing that, because I've always wanted to continue working as a priest until I die. I didn't want to ever retire, so far so good.